Our first story today is about the latest in the fight against the deadly disease breast cancer. Breast cancer mainly affects older women, and after treatment to remove the tumour, a hormonal drug called tamoxifen is usually given to stop the disease recurring. But tamoxifen can only be given for 5 years before it becomes ineffective. However, doctors at the Royal Marsden Hospital in London have pioneered the use of another hormonal drug called Femara. They are excited by the results of the latest trial, a worldwide study called MA17 involving over 5,000 women with breast cancer. In fact, their findings have been so positive that the trial has been stopped 2 years early because results were showing a dramatic benefit from Femara in stopping the disease recurring. For women who have had breast cancer, it's comforting to know that there is now the possibility of longer-term treatment to prevent it returning. Studies are continuing to see how long Femara could be effective in protecting women from getting breast cancer a second time.
This is the orange Smart City Coupe. It may look like an ordinary runaround from the outside, but this car incorporates state-of-the-art mobile technology, allowing the driver to make and take calls using voice recognition alone, and so avoiding having to take any hands off the wheel. The UK government plans to introduce legislation banning the use of handheld mobile phones while driving in the near future, amid mounting concern about the safety of existing hands-free car phones. In the light of this, Orange and Daimler Chrysler UK teamed up to create this special edition vehicle with a difference, a world-first co-branded car between a network operator and a car manufacturer. And they're confident this automobile will be much sought after in the years to come. The system is currently designed for private cars, but with new legislation coming into effect, more consumers will need to consider this type of solution. The Orange Smart City Coupe costs $15,000 on the road. It is now available in France and the UK, and Orange and Daimler Chrysler UK hope to launch the car across Europe over the coming year.
The stars of the 1980s classic American Gigolo were reunited recently with Giorgio Armani, one of the most influential designers of the past century, who had contributed heavily to the film's distinctive look. Richard Gere and Lauren Hutton were happy to share top billing with Armani on this occasion, as he was the focus of a retrospective exhibition that opened at the Royal Academy of Arts in London. The exhibition certainly showed that the Italian master of style has influenced not only the look of many a Hollywood film, but also what the general public wears. Armani's style appeals far and wide, and his clothes and accessories can represent a long-term investment. London's Royal Academy of Arts is the fourth stop for the look back at 3 decades of Armani, after shows in New York, USA, Bilbao in Spain and Berlin, Germany. In a new space for the venue without natural light, the designer had to come up with something different. Drawing on the Italian tradition of timeless values in fashion, Giorgio Armani has created a look that has drawn inspiration from around the world and produced a truly global brand.
Extremes of weather are becoming an increasing factor in our world today. So an Anglo-Japanese computer venture has created a landmark in forecasting the future of our world. The Earth Simulator, the world's biggest computer, is much more than an instrument to predict weather changes. British scientists at Reading University, working in partnership with their Japanese colleagues, are creating an unprecedented study on the implications of global warming. Based in Yokohama in Japan, the Earth Simulator is the size of 4 tennis courts. It needs to be to cope with all the data needed to predict climate change and its effects. 40 times faster than any comparable machine in operation, the Earth Simulator helps scientists study the possible effects of long-term climate change. It's already helped to drive home the message that the human race cannot afford to be complacent. The ability of the Earth Simulator to produce far more detailed projections than before is crucial. It should prove the first reliable indicator of long-term climate trends.
And in more good news for the environment, The launch of BP Ultimate marks a significant advance in fuel production. Presented in distinctive style, the new brand offers a choice between diesel and unleaded fuel, offering drivers the chance of high performance with reduced exhaust emissions. Fuel efficiency is the key. The manufacturers say it cleans the engine as you drive, even at high performance, and reflects the oil industry's desire to be seen as environmentally responsible. Already available in Greece and Spain, further launches both in and beyond Europe are under consideration.
A glittering extravaganza from French fashion house Yves Saint Laurent Rive Gauche brought this year's Paris Fashion Week to an end. The 2004 Spring-Summer collections set 1920s silhouettes to a 1970s beat as models with huge disco hair strutted down a zebra skin catwalk. American designer Tom Ford, continuing his raunchy makeover of the Gucci-owned label, increased the allure of loose satin trouser suits by pulling them tight around the hips and dolled up evening gowns with tiny balls on shoulder straps like dewdrops on spider webs. Dressed to kill, and for the kind of party that has glacé cherries in the cocktails and sausages on sticks, models with myths of back-combed curls swung their hips in black and white suits with wide lapels and swirling off-the-shoulder frocks. Never missing in a YSL collection since Saint Laurent himself revolutionized fashion with his square-shouldered power suits and trousers, a sophisticated tuxedo was the epitome of an ever-powerful image of women. And it was back to the classics with this one. The collection was completed by a selection of daring black and white swimsuits and accessories. Ford's was the last major show of the season. The Texas-born designer, who took over from Saint Laurent when he retired in 2002, keeps carrying on the legacy of the living legend. His glamorous, dramatic yet elegant collections, season after season, are all about sophisticated women brimming with sensual femininity.
Deep in the countryside of southern England, this forge is turning out brass swings of unusual shape. The small British company has come up with a novel idea of making garden swings in the shape of pumpkins. The metal structures, designed for those looking for eye-catching garden architecture, are attracting interest from as far away as Japan and the USA. The prototype pumpkin-shaped swings took 3 months to build. Now each can be turned out in 3 weeks from start to finish. It's the brainchild of designers Steve Myberg and Caroline Fletcher, who say they were inspired by their love of trees and the outdoors. Each brass piece is cut out, welded and joined together into the pumpkin shape. To ensure it doesn't overbalance, molten lead is poured into the base to stabilize it. Each swing weighs around 150 kilograms and can either be hung from trees or put on stands. And they've also caught the imagination of visitors to the Chelsea and Hampton Court flower shows. The makers have sold 5 pumpkin swings despite a $13,500 price tag and have orders for 25 more. Fletcher and Myberg Designs have also 5 other models for outdoor garden furniture and hope to develop further their market for unusual garden creations.
Meanwhile, over the channel in France, a Parisian supermarket has launched a dating service that allows single shoppers to check out the opposite sex at the checkout. Lafayette Gourmet is the food hall at the Galeries Lafayette's department store and has designated Thursday as Dating Day. That's when single shoppers identify themselves by carrying purple shopping baskets emblazoned with a cartoon of a kissing couple. Sylvain Goudou, Lafayette Gourmet's director, explained that the nights would take place for 2 months as a test. For her, money was not the question. She wants to identify these customers, please them, and help them to profit from this night where they can meet each other more easily. According to one singleton, Natalie, it has proved much less awkward than other dating services. She remarked that the whole thing was very natural. Her new friends saw her in the aisle, asked her to go to the bar, offered her a drink, and she felt comfortable throughout the whole experience. Alain, another singleton, described his meeting as spontaneous. He noticed a beautiful and charming woman carrying the purple basket and felt much more confident in approaching her. The dating market shopping evenings, an idea imported from the Netherlands, is jointly run with Yahoo, which already has an online dating service in France. Once shoppers have made eyes at each other through the cereal packets or brushed past each other at the cheese counter, they'll be able to chat each other up openly in the queue for a special checkout counter. Shoppers are also offered a glass of champagne and a free photograph if they succeed in hooking up with a potential mate. The bar is only a short walk away, where the newly introduced singles can continue their conversations undisturbed and get to know one another a little better in a safe environment. For the people of Paris, Lafayette Gourmet's dating nights are sure to be placed high on the list of singles around the city. And who knows, some of these shoppers might even end up walking down a different aisle.
It's a brand new idea and it's taken off well in Hamburg, Germany. It's indeed a new crèche, not for kids, but for grown-ups. Grown-up men to be exact, or better grown-up men who detest shopping with their wives. German women fed up with their partners grumbling on weekend shopping trips can now dump them at a special kindergarten offering beer and entertainment. Upon arrival, the men are given a name badge, and for $11.73 US, they get 2 beers, a hot meal, televised football and games. Open every Saturday between 12 noon and 6 p.m, the crèche's concept comes down to just one thing: no more nagging in the shops. Wives, dump your men at the crèche and go shopping in peace. Jeanette Brendel was one of the wives who took advantage of the service. Her husband often ended up in a bad mood when they went shopping together. When she heard about the crèche, she couldn't wait to try it out, and can now go shopping where she wants, for as long as she wants, without all the constant nagging. And the men certainly appear to be enjoying the experience. Henne Huissen from South Africa was pleased with the whole concept. A pub-style atmosphere combined with a lounge where you could sit back and relax. He enjoyed the opportunity to read and also joined the handyman class to learn more about tools. And the food was plentiful and good quality too. And how does that saying go? The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And that certainly seems to be in evidence here. And it must go a long way towards making Saturday afternoon shopping sessions a more pleasurable occasion for both husband and wife. Alexander Stein, manager of the Knox Bar venue, said the idea for the crèche, or Männergarten, came from a female customer who thought it would be a good way of getting rid of her husband so she could shop in peace. He had seen plenty of arguments take place during weekend shopping, so came up with a service to ease the situation between couples. According to Alexander, it seems to be working. One man who had been dropped off was clearly enjoying himself. Ben Ubasha was suitably surprised to find this place, and even better, his wife knew where he was. So for the men, a pleasant Saturday afternoon, and for the women, peace.
Another way to spend a Saturday afternoon recently was at the UK's major Asian lifestyle show, Mela. Mela 2003, the biggest event of its kind staged in the UK, highlighted the growing influence of Asians in Britain and showcased everything from fashion and food through to hand art and beauty treatments. It's here that the Asian community can display the products, services and skills they now offer. Organisers say Asians are a major economic group in the UK that cannot be overlooked. One of the biggest things to take off in the UK is the henna tattoo. For the last 9 years, Ash Kumar has been developing his own style of such art. He believes its popularity shows the desire to embrace Asian culture, and the temporary nature of the tattoo has enabled it to be a very trendy product. Another area where Asians have made their mark is in the fashion business, where they've been known to trade but now also design. To mark this, there was a show from New Talent, with one leading designer believing it shows the Asian impact on the fashion world. Zandra Rhodes was impressed with the growing influence Asian fashion had on the industry as a whole. It might only be in the little details or westernised designs, but it was important. This collection, aptly titled Monarch to Mogul, was a chance for the Asian industry to be totally exotic and over the top. Over the 3 days, around 30,000 visitors came to Mela 2003, highlighting how Asian lifestyle and culture is becoming a fashionable part of Britain's multicultural society.
This week on Living, we travel to the vibrant and colourful country of Korea, which lies in the northeastern part of the Asian continent. China, Russia and Japan are its neighbours, and it's a country steeped in tradition. An important part of Korea's culture is dance. Traditional dance, like the country's music, can be classified into either court dances or folk dances. The slow, gracious movements of the court dances reflect the beauty of moderation and the subdued emotions formed as a result of the strong influence of Confucian philosophy. In contrast, the folk dances mirror the life, work and religion of the common people and are exciting and romantic. If tradition isn't your style, then how about a trip to one of Korea's modern cities? Seoul is the capital of Korea with over 600 years of history. It's the heart of the country's culture and education, as well as politics and economics. Seoul is unique in that historical sites such as Gyeongbokgung Palace and modern cultural facilities coexist in harmony. Seoul is a world-class city with numerous amenities and shopping districts. One of the major places to shop is Isadong, which is also home to dozens of art galleries and antique shops. Its narrow alleys branch out in all directions from one main street, and it was originally the site of the Joseon dynasty royal residences. There are also plenty of restaurants and handcraft shops, which can offer anything from a hanbok, Korea's traditional clothing, to the very modern accessory, a mobile phone string. To explore the interesting places on these side alleys, you can find a map of Isadong at one of 3 tourism information centres located at the centre and either end of the main street. A diverse array of foods and dishes can be found throughout Korea, with rice being a staple food since ancient times. Meat and fish dishes along with wild greens and vegetables are available. The prominent feature of a Korean table setting is that all dishes are served at the same time. Traditionally, the number of side dishes varied from 3 for lower classes to 12 for royal family members. So whether it's history, shopping, food or just sightseeing, Korea is most definitely the place to be. It's a holiday to remember.
While tango has traditionally been seen as the quintessential dance of sexual tension between a man and a woman, a group of Argentinian women is breaking the gender barrier with the first all-women's tango group. Calling themselves the Dames of the Tango, the group performed in its native country before heading off for a tour of the United States, openly admitting that its intent was not only artistic but social as well. Dames of the Tango producer Carlos Gallego explained the rationale behind the concept. In Argentina, it is considered that the last male bastion is in fact the tango, so the intent is to challenge that concept and perhaps challenge machismo itself. While preserving the intensity of the art form, the performers replaced the traditional male roles of orchestra members and dancers with women. The women danced in pairs, while one of each pair, dressed in a dark suit and men's shoes, provided the man's lead and twirled the other one around. A fusion of styles, the tango was a late 19th century dance of the lower classes that acted out the sexual passion between a pimp and a prostitute. Men in the seedy areas of Buenos Aires danced the first tangos with other men to compete for the attention of the few women available. Eventually, the dance spread as a unique, sensually charged symbol of Latin romance. Singer Estela Maris Diaz joined them, performing the tango La Solterona. While the troupe performed their own rendition of La Campasita. That's all we've got time for this week. Make sure you're tuned in next time for another exciting episode of Living.